This is WJOPL Newburyport. I'm Lynn Varney, and you are listening to Joppa Radio 96.3. That was Barrence Whitfield, and he is going to be opening the Belleville Roots Music Series at the end of September. This is Lynn Varney, and you are on the air with Lynn Varney, and today my guest is Ken Irwin, and Ken is from the Belleville Roots Music Series. So Ken, welcome.
Glad to be back.
And thank you for bringing Barrence along with you.
I wish I could. Couldn't find him.
No. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the upcoming season and the Belleville Roots Music Series.
Well, we're in our 9th year, I think, of the Belleville Music Series, and we've been bringing top quality, very diverse music to the Belleville stage for all this time, a mixture of blues and bluegrass and Cajun and Zydeco and Irish and rockabilly and Western swing, singer-songwriter, just a real broad range of great music.
And that is what the Roots part of the series is this very diverse and going back to somewhat the what's the word I'm thinking?
Roots.
Roots, yes. For almost nationality, too. Like the, blues isn't nationality, but some of the Cajun.
From music that probably started in communities and was a part of the community and in some cases have been more widely accepted through folk festivals, touring, radio, press, and we try to bring the best of all these different genres to Newburyport.
Yes, and I know that there have been several Grammy Award winners that have come in the past.
Yeah, and in the future too.
And in the future, yes. So today, why don't you tell us about this new upcoming 9th season?
Okay, the first concert is Barrence Whitfield, who you just heard a very nice example of his screaming punk energy R&B. We say R&B, it's more in the sense of the 1960s. It has much more to do with Little Richard and Wilson Pickett and Solomon Burke than he does with what is considered R&B now. Sort of, again, roots of R&B.
Mm-hmm. And so Barrence will be kicking off the season on September 28th.
Right, at 8 o'clock, and that's at the Belleville Church, Belleville Stage, on 300 High Street. Mm-hmm. Imagine a lot of people go by there and see the poster out front, and see this amazing high-energy picture of Barrence, and now that you've heard a little bit of the music, it probably makes more sense. It's sort of hard looking and saying, what's this guy yelling about? That's it. He's a screamer.
He's a screamer, okay. Yeah. And we have several other songs, too, that we can listen to this morning, or this afternoon, as we go along. So what's some more of his background? Like what were his influences?
Well, he loved the soul music of the early '60s, Don Covey and some of the other people we mentioned. And he played in all kinds of different bands before coming to Boston. He went to Boston University, and he had been sort of frustrated, back home with not finding the right people that had that same passion. He came here and he found a group of people who loved that music too, and got together with them and formed Barrence Whitfield and the Savages, which sort of gives you a feel for for part of what they do anyway, and immediately met with really strong positive response and became one of the most popular local acts, and toured internationally, recorded a bunch of really fabulous records, and basically stayed in the area. He actually is sort of local, living in Salem now, or is it Beverly? But he's definitely local, and national treasure, living right near us.
Yes, he is. And so we're lucky to have him come and start off the season. So why don't we go now to our next song, which is Pain. And this has been described as a mid-tempo with a screaming falsetto. So we will go to Pain.
From the
And that is Barrence Whitfield, and he will be at the Belleville Roots Music Series on September 28th at 8 p.m. And the tickets are available at bellevilleroots.org. And my guest today is Ken Irwin. Thank you, Ken, for being here. And boy, that is really beady music.
I'm exhausted just listening. And we should mention that there should be lots of room for dancing for people who like to get up there and strut.
I was going to say, my foot is tapping, my fingers are tapping, my foot's going back and forth. It really is quite a good beat.
Amazing how easily he goes from the shouting right into singing and back. It's just effortless.
And so, and the shouting a lot is considered the falsetto part.
When he goes up
into the higher ranges. And
right.
I'm not very musically educated, so.
Well, that's one thing we hope to do with the series is to help educate people.
Yes.
And to introduce them to music and genres that they might not be familiar with. And it's always such a great opportunity for us that live here. We don't have to drive into Boston and try to find parking spots and, probably have to eat there in order to get the whole evening here. We can, relax and drive over. There's always parking in the area. And I think for this concert, we're going to have beer and wine, and I think it's going to be outside. Did that get arranged?
Yes, I think in the courtyard area.
In the courtyard area.
Depending on the weather, yes, yeah.
So that's the Belleville, by the way, for those who haven't been around a whole long time, is BELLEVILLE.
.org.
Yeah.
Or roots then .org.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about Barrence and how, maybe your introduction to Barrence Whitfield and how you heard about this music? And
well, we heard about the music back in the 80s, I guess, while he was, just getting started pretty much in the Boston area, and worked with him on several records. And that's when he started to really make quite a mark in Europe, which was very exciting for him and for us. And he sort of took a break later on, then came back and put together the band again and recorded a number of records in the 2010s, which we're in now. And just a very, very positive person. It seems, unusual, to have a song like Pain when he brings such joy.
Right.
And he's always been highly energetic on stage too. One of those people who, paces from one side to the other and sings to everybody, and just high energy, very, very positive, fun guy to be around. And his shows are always very, very enjoyable.
And what size band does he travel with? Does he have some horns also, or?
Yeah, it's usually a 4, sometimes 5-piece band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That get that beat going. And
oh yeah.
And can keep up with his voice even for the volume. So shall we go into our next song, which?
We should maybe mention the sponsors. We have
sure.
The Mass Cultural Council has been very, very supportive of Belleville Roots over the years. And want to mention also there are other places where you can get tickets. The Belleville office, which is on Chapel Street, and their office is open Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings from 9 to 1. And the Belleville Thrift Shop, and that's Wednesday and Saturday, 9 to noon. And, of course, at Dino Records, our favorite and only local record store. And we're just really lucky to have a record store and such a great record store in town. So hope people remember that.
Yes, and the tickets are available there as well.
Right.
Okay, and Shall we go on to another song, or do you want
Yeah.
to?
We mentioned, that he's, very much into that early soul period, and here's a soul ballad, and I know I like them all, but I love his ballad work. So here we are.
And this will be "I'll Be Home."
Yeah.
And that is Barrence Whitfield, and he is coming to the Belleville Roots music series at the Belleville Meeting House Church on 300 High Street on September 28th at 8 p.m. And Ken, my guest today is Ken Irwin, and he's with the Belleville Roots music series. And Ken, can you talk to us a little bit about what the music series is, the mission, how it got started?
Yeah,
all that fun stuff.
So I mentioned before, we're in our 9th year. The series started when I was approached by someone with a similar name, Russ Varney, who is the pastor at Belleville Church, about putting together some music shows to help raise funds for restoration and maintenance of the Belleville Church buildings. And sort of thought about it, and my wife and I said, oh, we'd like to find out who else might be interested. And we had a meeting, and seemed to be a lot of excitement for this, and we sort of talked about having a Roots series which would be different from anything else which was really happening in Newburyport at the time. And so that was the original, the first thing we talked about, but we also wanted to help to bring in a wide range of music from diverse parts of the country and different communities. I mentioned, we've had music that had roots in the Midwest and in the South. We've had Quebecois music from up in Canada. And Irish music, obviously, from Ireland. We continue to do this to bring in top quality music that people wouldn't normally see. And we also wanted to help to build community through music. That's been very important for all of us. And the committee that we work with is some of the nicest people and probably the best committee that I've ever worked in all my years. Just everybody has these similar goals, and it's been great to work with this group and bringing in. We've done most years 6 concerts, so that's like over 50 concerts over the years. And we've been able to bring in some money to help with the maintenance and restoration of the church, and made lots of friends in the process.
And I've had the pleasure of going to many of those concerts, and I'm always amazed at, no matter how little I know about the performer ahead of time, how impressed I am after the concert, and how amazed at the quality of the music of all the different genres. And wanting sometimes them to come back year after year. And I know there have been a few where we have had some repeat performances. Ruthie Foster was one of my favorites for sure. And it's even been as diverse as having the Von Trapp family for one of the larger concerts.
For a couple of the larger concerts, yeah. That's the repeat question has been one that we've been dealing with for a number of years now. Do we bring back people with all the great artists out there? Do we bring people back, or do we keep bringing in new acts? And most businesses that promote music usually bring an act in, and then they bring them back again and build them up. And we've done that in a few instances, but for the most part, it's been I think at least half to 2/3 of the acts each year have been people who haven't been here.
Mm-hmm. And that's great, too, because it certainly exposes us as audiences and the musicians to newer listeners.
Right.
Yes. Who and hopefully it seems like Belleville is almost a stepping stone as well. Like, some people have continued on and done quite well.
Well, one of the fun concerts was J.D. McPherson a few years ago, where I think 2 or 3 days later he performed on the Letterman show. So it's like Belleville roots to Letterman, of course. Why can't we do that at all the shows? But
wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. So what do you have in store for the rest of the season as well?
Well, for the fall shows, we're having the White Top Mountain Band in for the second show. And they're from, I think, the tallest mountain in Virginia. And they play, for the most part, mountain music, old-time string band, banjo, fiddle, guitar, mandolin, upright bass. And they have great harmonies. Martha Spencer, the daughter of the banjo player and of Her father, who passed away a couple years ago, was the fiddler in the band, and now Martha's brother is the fiddle player. And Martha's been doing a lot of writing, and an old-time vein that, if you weren't really attuned to the music of the Carter family, you might think, oh, this is an old Carter family song that was written 50 or 100 years ago, and just being played. But she writes in that old vein, and she's also a pretty incredible step dancer, and so she'll be giving clogging lessons before the show. So we might start a little bit early. So there you'll hear old-time string band. You'll hear a lot of humor. Martha has a little bit of the impish, almost June Carter Cash. It was Johnny Cash's wife for many years, and a member of the second generation of the Carter family, who the original Carter family, for those not familiar, were part of the great first recording trip going down to Bristol, Tennessee, and recorded for a long time, and hundreds of releases of great songs that have become part of the bluegrass repertoire as long as old-time repertoire, and all kinds of people have done Carter family songs since. And Martha, not a Carter, but is writing with that kind of feeling and sentimentality, as well as being a wonderful musician. I think she plays fiddle, banjo, mandolin, guitar, bass. I think that's all. But I wouldn't be surprised if she plays something else. And again, a really high energy band, and should be lots of fun. And we'll have room for dancing on that one too. And again, people who want to learn how to clog dance, check it out. I think we probably have some links on the Belleville Roots website, so
okay, and that's
check those out. And that's coming up on Saturday, October 19th. And then the last one for the fall will be an act we've been trying to get for probably 7 of those 9 years, and we finally were able to snag them, and they're the Steel Drivers. And the Steel Drivers were founded in Nashville, and the way it started really was Chris Stapleton, who has become a huge country music star, and Mike Henderson were writing songs, and some of them fit really well for country music and were getting cut by other artists, and there were some others that they thought might be better for bluegrass, and they decided to form a little band to record record and perform these songs. And they did 2 records, which were highly respected and got all kinds of recognition. And then Mike had some difficulties and didn't want to tour, and Chris decided that if Mike wasn't touring with him, that he would, that he didn't, it lost some of the excitement for him. And Chris went on to huge success as a country music star, and is now one of those people who, I think he sold millions of records now. But he was replaced by another singer who had that very, very bluesy voice. They're referred to as, bringing the blues back into bluegrass. and they still perform a lot of the songs that Chris and Mike wrote, and then they have a new lead singer. Their second singer had to stop touring, and they were really having trouble finding a replacement. And then Mike Henderson's wife, former member of the band, his wife found this singer in, of all things, a Chris Stapleton sound-alike contest. And they checked with him. He'd never played bluegrass. He was from Kentucky, and he had that, again, very bluesy voice. And they've just finished a new record, and we'll get to hear a lot of those songs for the first time. It's the last record that they put out won the Bluegrass Grammy, and yet their audiences go way beyond bluegrass at this point. They still play some bluegrass festivals, but a lot of places they're playing major venues, and so we just feel really fortunate to be able to get them. And we haven't started the publicity, and we already have sold more tickets than virtually anybody else at this point. The other big one was J.D. McPherson, who had a avid following online, and we sold out one show before announcing it just from their fan base.
Wow.
So I think that is sort of leaning towards that with the Steel Drivers. And then we'll take some time off for the winter months, and then start off with Irish music, and then blues, and then we're going to have back Cheryl Wheeler, who's been a favorite. So we'll have two new bands in the fall, and one new one, and one repeat. So it should be a really great year.
It sounds it.
Yeah.
It really does. And I love the name, the Steel Drivers.
Yeah, and their avid fans are referred to as steelheads.
Steelheads. Kind of like the Deadheads.
Yeah.
They are the Steelheads. So how about if we listen to another Barrence Whitfield song?
Okay, that sounds good.
To get a flavor for what we have coming up. And the next one, it looks like, will be I Can't Get No Ride. Do you have any sort of interlude or a little?
Well, this just has again a different feel. We've already had like 3 sides of Barrence, and this one has a very Rolling Stones feel. Reminded me quite a bit of Satisfaction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go with Barrence Whitfield. I Can't Get No Ride. And that was Barrence Whitfield. He's coming to the Belleville Roots Music Series on September 28th at 8 p.m. And tickets are available at bellevilleroots.org, BELLEVILLE, Roots, ROOTS.org. And my guest today is Ken Irwin, and he is with the Belleville Roots Music Series, and he's talking with us about the upcoming season and this upcoming Barrence Whitfield concert.
I wanted to mention again about the other places that people could buy tickets to. At the Belleville office, which is on Chapel Street, and they're open Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday 9 to 1, and the Belleville Thrift Shop Wednesday and Saturday 9 to noon, and Dino Records whenever they are open, which is most of the time.
That sounds great. And we've listened to several different songs today. I think we've listened to 4. And so they're all very different, Ken.
Well, that was intentional. I tried to give the sort of the breadth of what people might expect to hear. They're really rocking sort of mixture of rockabilly and punk and blues all mixed together to the soul, traditional soul, and it's you don't know what you're going to get with him on stage. You get an idea from here of the types of songs. I want to mention again the sponsors, and we're always very thankful for all of the sponsors, as the Institution for Savings, the Mass Cultural Council, and Beach Plum, from the Flower Shop. And they've been all, just very, very supportive, and we're greatly appreciative, as are we, of all the people that come to the shows.
And I know from having gone to several of the shows myself, there are a lot of people who love the variety and come to many different shows as well, who are exposing themselves to new styles of music and new artists, or older artists that are just not as well known,
right,
as some of the big venue draws.
And some of them have been big venue, but just, we found them either on a day off or a day in between or whatever. So we tried, we've been trying to get Ruthie back for a few years, but we always try to book far enough in advance, and sometimes too far in advance. So we'll keep trying, and meantime we keep finding new people that we want to bring in, and other people that we want to bring back. So we already have a couple of people that were pretty much booked for the year after that.
For the let's see, that's the 2020-21 season.
Yeah.
Wow. It amazes me sometimes how many talented musicians there are out there, and that you want to have exposure for, or you wish them success, but it's a really small group of people that get that mega success. Like you were mentioning, the gentleman from the Steel Drivers, who now on the countryside is doing Chris
Stapleton.
Stapleton is doing very, very well.
Yeah, there are a few people that come out of bluegrass, like Alison Krauss, who have had that kind of crossover success, and Chris. And then we've had people that have sort of gone the other way, like Steve Martin, who have had huge success, and then, come back, and he's always been a banjo nut. He supposedly has a banjo in every room in his house, so that, if he feels like playing, he just, it's there, and he can play.
Yeah.
And it's been, something that he's loved for years, and now has been able to incorporate that into his shows.
I haven't seen him live, but I have seen several of the videos, and I'm amazed. He's really talented as well.
Yeah, he's a really good banjo player and composer. Most of the songs that he's recorded on his albums are tunes that he's written.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So maybe someday, can we hope? Can we cross our fingers and hope that we might?
I think that might be out of our out of our range.
Okay. Well, we just have a few minutes left, and we're going to go out with one of the Barrence Whitfield songs as well. So, any final thoughts on this upcoming season and this upcoming concert?
Well, we're just, we have this great music. Spread the word. Come out to the shows. Support these wonderful artists, and have a great time. It's been wonderful shows. We see all kinds of smiling faces at the end of the shows, and the artists are quite educational usually in terms of talking about where their music came from, who their influences were. And, to me, that just adds depth and understanding and further appreciation of their music. And it's something that we think about when we're bringing people in, who is a great artist and be able to put on a wonderful show, but also people that are going to be fun and people will talk about. The steel drivers say that they play uneasy music, and uneasy music is when bad things happen to good people.
That's a great term.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And in addition to being educational, they're also so accessible. Most of the performers, when they're at the tables after the show or during intermission with their CDs or whatever, are so interactive, and they want to talk to the audience. It's really, really nice.
It is. It's part of most of these traditions,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been doing it for years, and they love what they're doing. I'm sure that many of them could be making more money doing other things, but this is their passion, and they love talking to people about what they're doing. And sometimes they get ideas from other people, and but they're spreading the culture that they grew up with, and that's very important to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and important to all of us to be the recipients of that as well. So, Barrence Whitfield is coming to the Belleville Roots Music Series on September 28th at 8 p.m. Tickets are available online at bellevilleroots.org. And we are going to go out with Rock and Roll Baby. This is Barrence Whitfield.
All right, so Lynn just had to pop out real quick. We're going to finish up the interview real quick. So, again, Barrence is playing on September 28th, right?
That's right, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay, and he also has an opening act, which is Veronica Lewis. Do you want to talk about her briefly?
Yeah, Veronica is a young, I think she's a 16-year-old boogie-woogie and blues pianist, and does some other things as well. Also a really strong vocalist. Originally from Keene, New Hampshire, and now living locally in Haverhill, I think it is. And she's been touring all around the country, Nashville all the way out to L.A., and played a number of festivals. And this fall she played at the highly prestigious Rhythm and Roots Festival down in Rhode Island, which is a Labor Day festival that everybody should think of going to one point or other. It's a great festival, great dance stage, rockabilly, roots rock, Cajun, Zydeco, just a great time. But anyway, that's very unusual to have a young artist play down there, but she rocked it, and we're really thrilled to have her here.
Yeah, I saw it was a bit older of an article, but it said she was working on an album for 2018. Are these, we're going to play a few songs, but are these songs from that album, or?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. They sort of have a live feel, but they're really cool. So I guess the first one we're going to hear is Put Your Wig On, Mama.
Okay, and I'll cue that up right now. So this is Veronica Lewis, Put Your Wig On, Mama. Oh.
So forget what you're cooking,
Cool. And so that was Put Your Wig on Mama, as played by Veronica Lewis. So that song had, as we heard Veronica singing. We heard her playing keys or piano. Yeah. We heard drums, and there was saxophone. Now, it's pretty unusual for a 16-year-old to be playing that kind of music. Do you want to talk a little bit about her influences?
Well, not only unusual for someone to be doing it, but for someone to be doing it so well at such a high level is very impressive. And I think she could hold up very well against a lot of the acts that are out there and have been out there for a long time. So I think this will be really exciting. I think for people to be able to see an artist at this age. I know a number of years ago we had one of our concerts was called Rising Stars, and one of them was a young woman who was still at Berkeley at the time, Molly Tuttle, and last year I think she won Guitar Player of the Year, regardless of age, against all the hot guitar players and
Wow.
and in bluegrass, and just gone on. And I think I really enjoy seeing people at these early stages when they're first getting involved and touring, and then be able to say, oh yeah, I saw her or him back then. Just
I was there first.
Yeah,
I saw them in
I saw her before you did.
Again, I think we should mention the show again. So it's going to be September 28th.
September 28th at 8 o'clock, and it's at the Belleville Stage. And that's at 300 High Street in Belleville Church, and loads of on-the-street parking. And once again, you don't have to go into Boston and drive for 45 minutes and deal with parking spots and maybe dinner and traffic. And here you just have to come over to the Belleville Church and check it out. And with her high energy and Barrence's high energy, it's going to be a pretty exciting evening.
It sounds pretty good. Do you know how long the show's going to be roughly?
It's usually, she'll probably do like a 20-minute, 25-minute set, and then Barrence will probably do a 90-minute set.
Okay.
So be good.
Full over 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right. And do you want to hold the poster?
Yeah, let's see if we can hold it up. And we got a pretty good shot there.
There we go.
See Wild Man Barrence.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we have one more song to play, and it is, I have the title right here, I think it's Memphis Train.
Right, and this shows more of the high energy playing that I think we'll hear a lot of on a week from Saturday, again the 28th.
At 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
All right, so this is Memphis Train.
Well, I heard the train when I was just a child. It called my name and said to ride a while. Felt a thundering pound that got deep inside. Knew I couldn't let it pass me by. 'Cause I know I'm gonna ride the 601. So come on, everybody, let's have some fun. A Memphis train, a Memphis train. I heard that whistle call my name. Oh, Memphis train, a Memphis train. Have you heard that whistle call your name? 'Cause I know I'm gonna ride the 601 in style. So come on, everybody, let's ride a while. come on, everybody, let's ride a while.
I like the little train whistle at the end there. A little atmospheric bit.
Going off into the distance.
Going off. All right, so I would like to thank you, Ken, for coming in and talking
Thank
about
you.
this. And I'd also like to thank Lynn
Yeah.
for hosting this. Again, she had to dip out real quick.
Right.
But, so again, September 28th, 8 p.m. at the Belleville Church, 300 High Street,
Yep. 300 High Street.
on-street parking.
Room for dancing.
Room for dancing. And I think we'll go out in one Barrence tune. And which one was it again?
Turn your damper down.
Turn your damper down.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you again. This has been Jabba Radio, 96.3 FM. Do you have anything you want to add at the end? Or
No, just hope to see a lot of you there. Be a fun. Barrence is a great, great crowd pleaser, and I'm sure that Veronica. I haven't seen her, but I love her music, and think she'll be great as well.
All right. So this is Turn Your Damper Down by Barrence,
Yeah.
and here we go. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.